Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman. Fuck yeah!
I wonder how many villains it would take to actually
screw in a light bulb?
Batman. Yes, screw in a light bulb. Because if he can beat Superman, I mean, fuck, what villain out there could do anything like that? Other than that robot kind of kicked all their asses, so.
Lex Luthor did a fucking number on him. You saw Batman Superman.
World's Finest. He hadn't seen that.
I thought you said you did. Where Batman plus Superman. Oh no, you're talking about Dark Knight's Return Part 2, aren't you?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the names of them. I just watched whatever was on the thingamajig that I put in my thingamajig that had a little screen and did things.
But yeah, this is Chris from last week. He ended up watching because he had so much fun on the podcast last week. He decided to actually watch any sort of Batman at all, which he hadn't done before, and watched everything relevant in 2 days.
Welcome to life.
Well, thank you. It's quite interesting.
Okay, an item of business I want to get out of the way first. That's pretty important. Last week's episode, we were talking about a scene with an ambush. Yeah, there's an ambush in the Batcave led by Ubu and the Clock King, and how that was going to start off was that you see this pocket watch sail through the air and land right between Batman, Alfred, and Talia, right in the center of all of them, and Batman sort of pushes them out of the way and jumps away before the pocket watch explodes. I thought I had this idea of the pocket watch grenades myself. As it turns out, I sort of just remembered it from the episode The Clock King, because the first time that Batman and the Clock King ever actually interact, he throws a pocket watch grenade at him. So, as it turns out, it was not my idea. I did not mean to claim it as my own. I guess I had just remembered it and forgotten. That said, we can still use it, but I just wanted to put it out there that I wasn't trying to... I wasn't trying to plagiarize despite what little fucking Harry Potter over here has to say. For those of you who are listening, Sean looks like Harry Potter, but with Snape's nose.
Is that said in every podcast?
No. You've listened to it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasting.
But it just became a recurring motif.
Because I'm pretty sure it happened last
We'll work that into the screenplay somehow.
Now on that list of criminals that goes by on the screen, there's going to be a picture of me with Snape's nose.
Alias Harry Snape.
Alias
Severus Potter.
The Nazinator.
What if that was an actual Batman villain? That'd be awesome.
I don't know, if Polka Dot Man's an actual Batman villain, nothing surprises me anymore.
What does Polka Dot Man do?
Old Silver Age villain. I've
heard of him.
His gimmick is he has polka dots all over his costume, and he can take them off of his costume and throw them, and they'll all do different polka dot related gimmicky things.
That sounds really
What's a
lame.
polka dot related gimmick?
Everyone's forced to play Twister.
I think it's stuff similar to that. I mean, they also do shit like explode and stuff, but...
Well, see,
I'm guessing they had a difficult time writing for this guy. It's how can we make this not just a what the fuck moment for everybody?
Right.
And apparently Polka Dot Man was featured in an episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold. So...
I kind of want to watch that episode, just to see.
Have you seen any of The Brave and the Bold?
Oh, I saw one episode today. It was really weird. It kind of mind-fucked me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, seriously. It's on Netflix. Brave and the Bold. It's like a whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched one with the Blue Beetle. The very first one.
Yeah,
Clock King actually has a clock as a face. I'm not too sure how he talks.
Are you kidding?
No.
That's terrible. Yeah, no. Watch Batman the Animated Series. After this, we should do a Brave and the Bold film for all the fans. All the fans.
So you've seen Brave and the Bold?
I've seen enough of it to realize that no. I saw this clip
where Batman is training some sort of protege, and the protege is eating nachos. And Batman comes up and slaps the nachos out of his hand. He's like, Batman does not eat nachos. I'm not even fucking joking. This is exactly what happened.
That's pretty brave, man.
Yeah.
That's bold, too.
It's pretty bold.
He's really worried about the calories.
I listened to an interview with Kevin Smith, the guy who did the voice of Batman in it. And Kevin Smith didn't like it at first, but it ended up making him cry a bunch, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Just saying. But he's a crazy stoner. He probably cries at everything.
It's just like, oh, fuck. Futurama's on.
I watched this hilarious thing last night. It was the cast and crew of Batman and Robin talking shit on Batman and
We
Robin.
were actually just watching that a couple of minutes ago.
Really entertaining, right?
Yeah, except I stopped. My interest was sort of gone when he was just... What the hell was it that he said?
Joel Schumacher held up his hand sort of at his forehead height and waved them more like a butterfly than anything else, and he said, Batman? And then he lowered them a few inches and sort of made them parallel with the floor, and he said, Robin.
I saw that shit, and I was like,
And I was
what?
just like, okay.
Did you explain the part where he was describing why he had made these suits with nipples on them?
No.
I don't think I got to that part yet.
What?
I think it was right after that, and he was describing it because he didn't think that the nipples were a bad thing until after the movie. Really
I know he was inspired by statues of Roman gods.
Exactly. And then he gets to the topic of having nipples on Batgirl's suit. So he says he still put them on there, and if you pay attention closely, you can see them, but they're very subtle.
Damn.
I never noticed
Well,
them.
now I have a reason to watch that movie.
See, I would have put holes there.
I actually loved Batman and Robin, not as a Batman movie, but as an awesome one-liner movie.
That's what I was telling him earlier. The whole movie's just done in one-liners.
It really is.
But
And that's all we have to say about Batman and... What is it, Batman and Robin?
yeah, I think it was Batman and Xylophone or something.
The thing that shocked me the most about watching that video was that he was pretty much praising Batman Forever. And I was thinking, you shouldn't do that, guy. That was literally the worst one. Don't praise that one.
I think that one was better than Batman and Robin, though.
It had no one-liners. I hated Gotham being entirely CGI. And Val Kilmer. What is it? Someone Franklin. He was better than George Clooney.
Acting-wise, but the guy is 4 feet tall.
It's a little baby Batman.
He should have played Robin.
Had Chris O'Donnell as Batman.
What's the point of Robin, by the way? Where'd they pull that out of their ass?
We're gonna have to do another separate podcast with that. I don't know. Sometimes, especially in the animated series, his character actually becomes relevant.
Plus, I always liked Nightwing. I thought Nightwing was
really good. The episode, the new Batman Adventures episode, Old Wounds.
Yeah,
was really good. It discussed why Robin stopped being Robin. Batman pissed him off one too many times, and he punched Batman in the face and said, "I quit."
Damn.
And threw his mask on the ground.
You sure that was Robin who did that?
Yeah, no. It came as a real shocking moment for everyone.
He cried later that night. Did I just do that?
I'm sorry. Now he's gonna come punch me.
So,
one more thing. While we're on the subject of Robin, we can't destroy Bloodhaven, where Nightwing is up, because I read that he continued being Nightwing into a late age, and he's not particularly old as of this movie. He's maybe the age Batman was at the beginning of the animated series. And if we destroy Bloodhaven, even if Nightwing's not there, what the fuck's he going to be sitting there doing, defending a depopulated city for 30 years?
right.
So, we can't blow that up. Doesn't really matter, because no one's going to fucking know what it is anyway. But
Yeah, but just not mention it. Okay, so I brought some index cards. And we can do two separate things. We can do moment by moment or scene by scene. And if we do scene by scene, we can write the moments line by line on the cards. And then we're going to lay them out, and we're going to see if we can put a therefore or a but in between each index card. And where we can't, we know we need to put another index card to connect the dots.
I like that idea. I like going scene by scene and then writing the moment on the card.
okay, we can do that.
Sounds like a job for you three.
Alright. Card number 1. Opening.
Okay. And I think we discussed having the cold open with Ra's al Ghul talking to, I guess, Ubu or somebody.
Yes.
We had to actually... What's your thing?
Okay. I had a thought that you might not go for, but you know how, like, I wish I could think of an example right now. When franchise, like, shows go into a movie and you walk into the movie and you're expecting, like, our example, we'll say we're expecting Batman, like, all of a sudden. And there's, like, a side story that's important later in the movie, but you're in an unfamiliar territory and you don't know what's going on, and maybe a few minutes in, you see your main thing. Okay, I just thought of a stupid example. Pokemon, the first movie. Mm-hmm. That movie starts out, you're learning all about Mewtwo and these scientists and why he wants revenge, and it takes, like, literally 8 to 10 minutes before we ever meet, like, Ash and the gang. And things feel like a normal Pokemon episode. So my suggestion is, I think it's cool when movies do stuff like that. They throw you off, but it becomes relevant later. My suggestion is, what if we open the movie with that sequence from long ago, with the bodyguard and the staff, and
that's not a bad idea.
And then you don't know why it's relevant until the end of the movie, when Ra's explains it or just mentions it.
I like it too. I'm just wondering how that's going to affect that scene, because the explanation was supposed to be the flashback. So how would we work that scene?
The explanation was supposed to be
like Ra's. The flashback was supposed to happen while Ra's is explaining in depth what had happened.
Right.
Because that's the thing. Because Ra's does narrate that scene.
I know he does, but there's no reason we couldn't simply depict it just to make the audience curious. Like, oh, what's going on? Oh, man, there's a guy traveling and somebody's fighting. Why is this person trying to stop someone? Oh, he's showing that guy mercy. Is he going to let him go? Fuck. He killed that guy. What's this all about? Batman Immortal. 2 hours later, you're just like the man that I fought the first time, or whatever. And, like, it can just be a reference point, and then he can explain in one sentence what that was about. And primal rule of filmmaking, show, don't tell.
Yeah.
The one issue I have with that I just thought of is that's a big scene for that encounter. Just the dialogue between Ra's al Ghul, that scene is important. Mm-hmm. But for the movie as a whole, it doesn't offer too much to the plot. The opening scene of the movie should be relevant to the plot as a big picture plot thing. So it should the scene should probably still relate to Raish's plan more than, because I mean that flashback is really only important for Ra's al Ghul for something to compare Batman to. That scene's actually there more for him to taunt Batman with than anything else. And outside of that portion of the movie, it would kind of seem irrelevant.
I don't think it needs to be explained what's going on if we were to do that as the opening. We can just sort of show what's happening, and later Ra's can explain it, and the conversation can play out in the same way. And I think, and again, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just it's a conversation. And I think that it isn't relevant to our plot as a whole. It is more relevant to Ra's as our character, but it puts us in a place of knowing we're in a headspace with Ra's, and like Ra's being a central part of this story we're about to watch. And what's that X-Men movie that starts out with Magneto and he's like in the camp? And
that's the first
X-Men
one.
3. Wait, 3 was him in the camp.
Oh, well, whatever.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, that moment when they're fucking being marched away by Nazis, it's not relevant to that whole movie, but it says a lot about Magneto's character, and that resonates through the whole rest of the movie. And if you're not convinced, I'd like to write a draft of it.
Okay.
The way I would picture it is definitely kind of like he says, but like just sort of like a snippet of it. You just do a random man walking away, and then you just do like the shadow of a man standing up, and it could just, I don't know, just a shadow, and then you could do like a death thing, like, you know, the guy gets killed and hit from behind, you can assume that he's dead because they would just go to black, and then you continue with the rest of the movie. And then when it comes to that scene, show that scene, and show what that meant.
I like what he's saying here. Do a snippet of the scene, and then elaborate on the whole scene later.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
We're not going to explain bubonic plague and gone 3 times and
okay.
And it's still even with a really awesome quote over.
Is this going to be like the violence wise? Is it going to be like Joker Returns, or is it going to, or whatever it was called?
It is going to be. It's actually going to be more brutal than possibly any previous Batman thing that wasn't a comic.
I like that because I liked when the Joker straight up cut someone's throat with a coffee cup. That was sick.
Well, like. Alfred and the Clock King both die on screen.
Rage disintegrates on screen. His body, at least.
Mm-hmm. Talia is killed with having her mind fucking erased from her body.
Right.
Not to mention the millions of unseen deaths that happen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking some of them might get seen, or at least the after effects of them. But then, and also an idea I came up with at work today, we might have Ubu die. We might actually have him commit suicide.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to hear this.
I mean, that was a little off topic, what y'all guys were talking about, but there's something that popped in my head.
It's going to be incredibly violent. It's going to be a decent bit of blood in the final fight.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot go wrong with blood.
Well, in all fairness, if the Batman were a real guy, it would be pretty bloody.
Oh, yeah. But, okay. So here's the scene that I had in mind for the... I actually had 2 scenes that are both related to the ambush that I came up with. One I came up with as I was walking back to the house to get... Or I was walking around after our last podcast. Mm-hmm. Is, you know, just a little thing with the ambush scene, and the Clock King is destroying the lab equipment with the pocket watch grenades. He's got lab equipment on either side of him, just these tables with all these beakers and shit. And he's just walking along, not looking at the tables, just sort of jollily throwing pocket watches to either side of him, just blowing up the shit. Maybe jolly is the wrong word, but at least nonchalantly.
Yeah.
Just sort of like, you get this thing where he's an efficiency expert. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly where to throw these pocket watches. He doesn't have to look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just thought of this scene where he's just walking down an aisle and causing shit to explode on either side of him. After rewatching the Clock King episodes, I watched those the other day. He's actually a hell of a lot more dangerous than I remembered.
Yeah, he's pretty dangerous.
I mean, I didn't know how much he did with explosives, which is why I didn't know if those pocket watch grenades were a good idea. And then I realized that he had those. Also, is really good at, you know, blowing up shit and causing trains to crash into each other and making explosives to kill the mayor with.
I had a thought the other day, actually. It was, I kind of wish that I want to see more of the Clock King, because I don't want it to feel kind of like the Dark Knight, where, you know, of course you know all about the joke the whole movie, but then Two-Face shows up for about 15 minutes of the film.
The reason I didn't want to do that was because I didn't want to do what most Batman movies have done and have, like, 2 central villains.
I see the point of only having one, but just having like 15 minutes of the other guy, it just kind of felt like you had a big thing and you kind of wasted it.
Well, that's always a cool surprise to me. Like, at least with Dent in The Dark Knight, like, he has a full story that lasts the whole movie, but it's a surprise to me when you see a trailer or something and you assume someone's in the entire movie, and then like halfway through the movie, like, that doesn't bum me out. I'm just sort of like pleasantly surprised.
We're actually, I've written something like that in the trailer. We're going to have, in all those action sequences that flash by, we're going to have the Bat mech suit in one of those action shots. And, I mean, it's only going to be in the movie for, like, 2 minutes.
Right.
But the fact that it's in the trailer means that people are like, oh, shit, we're going to get to see that.
Yeah.
So
more like an attention grab sort of thing, right?
Exactly. The other thing is that the Clock King has a pretty interesting character, but his character's not incredibly deep. His character's pretty simple.
He's an OCD dude who just needs to be on.
Everything needs to be on schedule. And it's what he said to Batman is like, Batman says to him, you can't kill the mayor. Yeah, he ruined your company, but he wasn't trying to do this. And the Clock King's like, he did worse than ruin my company. He made me late. And it's just like, but yeah, I mean, that's him. And I really like him. That's the only reason we're including him in here, because Ken wanted to pull in another villain, just as sort of a small role, and that was my favorite. It was probably one of my favorite villains from the show.
I like him so much. I hate to only see him like twice. The once with a meeting, and then the once with the ambush.
The thing is, really, where else can we put him?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
No matter what happens, you'll always love Boba Fett.
That's true, yeah.
And it's like, yeah. So that's that. And with Ubu, I was thinking about this because we had talked about maybe having Raish kill Ubu, or Ubu was maybe going to report back to Raish and say Talia's working with Batman, but then we were supposed to have Raish surprised that Talia was there in the fight or something, and we couldn't really get it. And then I was thinking of maybe having him like escape or something, but
we had that. My favorite suggestion before tonight that you've had with Ubu so far was him being within seconds of dying and him like looking to Batman for help, and Batman like goes to go, but then he hesitates because he killed Alfred, and then because he hesitates, like he only hesitates for a moment, and then he becomes like who he is again, and doesn't let his emotions get in the way, and he goes to help Ubu, but because he hesitated, whatever perilous thing happens, and Ubu dies.
Yeah, the thing was is that I couldn't think of a perilous thing that didn't seem really cheesy. Now I was thinking of some sort of closing pit or same thing or something like that. Well, here's my thing. Especially after the episode Avatar, Ubu always had a very great respect for Batman.
Throwing him in the water. I love that moment.
And well, the thing was is that at the penultimate scene for the ambush, I'm thinking Ubu throws some sort of javelin or something. I'm still not clear on exactly. Would it be amiss of him to use an arrow, like a bow and arrow? Do you think?
Because that doesn't sound.
Here's the thing that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
His character likes to use, a very large sword or occasionally a dagger of some sort. Yeah. I was thinking he could throw a dagger and Alfred intercept it. The problem with that is that would be to Dobby. And that's exactly how Dobby dies in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, is that he jumps in front of a knife.
Yeah.
But
you think that's the first time that ever happened in a story?
No, but that's a really recent thing that might be sticking in people's minds. I don't know how many Batman fans are also Harry Potter fans. I don't know if it's a big number, but I don't know. It was just something that...
But I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and I haven't...
I didn't think of that at first.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that at all. Like, they're separate stories. You strike me as too worried to be too similar to...
Well, yeah, that was a thing that's really bugging me, is I want to do something really original here.
Yeah, but I mean... There are movies that have done an original take of a love triangle, and there's no story older than a love triangle. It's our story is original. I mean, people aren't going to expect the death of Alfred at that moment. When Alfred dies, they're not just going to go, Dobby. I mean, if anybody's
yeah, the way you put it that way, that sounds about right. But
well said.
Yeah. Okay, so we could do that. Anyway, Ubu goes to throw the knife at Batman. Alfred jumps in the way. Alfred has his last moment with Batman. Alfred dies. Batman jumps towards Ubu, who is now visibly frightened, and starts beating the living fuck out of him. And is actually getting him towards the cliff edge. And he stops himself. And he's just like, Batman's trying to calm down. And Ubu has noticeably lost the fight. And he sees Batman in this state of like complete disbelief at everything that's just happened in the past 5 minutes. And he's just like, I want you to know that I've always held you in the highest regard. And he chomps down on a cyanide pill that he takes from his pocket and falls backwards off the cliff.
Why wouldn't he just jump off the cliff?
There's water at the bottom of it. That way you wouldn't know that he was dead. Or it wouldn't be a cyanide pill. It'd be like a pill, and he bites down on this green gas comes up and makes him dead. And then he falls, and as he's falling, Batman runs to grab him, but he can't. And
Reminds me of the Joker gas.
a little bit. You know, just some sort of poison gas.
I like it.
You knew.
I knew what?
You knew. That the Joker's gas was green.
Yeah.
You watched Batman.
Let me be honest with you for a second. I thought the gas was purple. I forgot that it was green. I didn't pay that much attention to the fucking gas.
Oh man, I gotta write this green.
So what all did you watch?
Stuffs. I don't remember the names of them.
He watched
Okay.
Return of the Joker, Mask of the Phantasm, Showdown. I can't remember the episodes. So the first 2 episodes with Raish. Demon's Quest. Yeah, both of those.
That was
Yeah, that's really
Almost Got Him, Over the Edge,
Damn
and
good.
one of the episodes with the Clock King. Can't remember which one.
The second one.
Is Almost Got Him the poker game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a great episode.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that something similar to that should be in
And,
the next movie. 'Cause that was cool
Out of the
shit.
Past. You watched Out of the Past. That was the Beyond episode.
Okay.
So all the jigsaw pieces fit together to you, of what we're doing.
Somewhat, yeah. I'm kind of caught up. Kind of understand. But it's
I really
bad.
love that idea of that opening. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I like that a lot.
I'm glad, and thank you for articulating it, because I could see your brow just going, but that doesn't, the end scene and the climax, and we need to character here? Why? You're just like, we're not explaining it, don't worry about it. He's like, oh.
I'm very confused. To be fair, either you weren't very clear, or you were crystal clear, but transparent, and I saw right through it, and I overanalyzed,
Well,
or underanalyzed, or just completely didn't fucking know.
You know what I'd like to see randomly? And in the movie? Mr. Freeze.
He's actually out of the picture at this point.
Is he dead? Or what?
No, he left, didn't he?
Yeah, in Cold Comfort.
Yeah.
No,
Where'd he
it was
go?
it was Cold Comfort. He ended up as like some sort of frozen head in an iceberg or something, and then he was back in Batman Beyond, still as a frozen head.
That's kind of sad.
nothing we can do
That's
about
the thing with Mr. Freeze. It is pretty sad.
Yeah,
His
nothing
whole-
ever
his-
works out
His
for
whole
him.
here's his story. Okay, his wife gets some sort of cancer or something, and he freezes her cryogenically using stuff at the company that he works at. The guy he's working for fucking knocks him into some cryogenic chemicals and almost kills him, and he has to stay in this fucking suit to stay alive. And he builds this freeze gun, and he starts freezing people, and he becomes this emotionless husk of what he was. The only emotions that he ever shows are towards his wife, who is still frozen and still pretty much dead. Okay, then a bunch of shit happens, and it's pretty much made out. It looks like Mr. Freeze died, but he didn't. But using his research, Bruce Wayne made the cure for the disease that his wife had, and his wife is now better. She's really sad that Mr. Freeze is dead, but she marries the doctor that got her free of the cancer. So now, because Mr. Freeze was going to go back to her, but now she was all better, and he was what he saw as this monster, and he didn't want her to have to, love a guy that had to stay in a suit to be alive. And then he starts destroying everything. And then suddenly he gets destroyed because the freezing shit sort of deteriorated his body. So now he's just a head in a jar on this robot. And then his head in the jar gets frozen in an iceberg. And then these guys find it 30 years later in Batman Beyond, and they bring him back. And then he realizes that everything is horrible and that they're just using him as a thing. So he destroys the entire building, killing himself in the process. And he actually dies. So his life was shit the whole fucking time.
I like Mr. Freeze. I don't know why.
I do too, but yeah, everything sucks for that guy.
Poor guy.
You do feel bad for him every time.
That's what makes him great. That's what makes it great writing, is because you get it. You get him.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, I don't. I have a hard time relating to that. That didn't happen.
I was like,
I remember the first time I had my head frozen. That shit sucked.
I remember that your wife almost died. Thank God someone saved you.
Oh, yeah. No,
and then she went off and married some other fucking guy.
My life sucks.
You know what the worst part of his day was? One time, he went to McDonald's and he fucking got a coffee and then he spilled it all over himself and burned himself. But the fact that he's in that fucking cold suit means that burn like was really, really fucking bad. And then he got a flat tire in his car and he was like, God damn it!
So pretty much the movie Falling Down was based on his life?
Oh, okay.
Down. Clear path. Okay, so I like your Ubu bit.
And it sort of gives that whole, Batman's still willing to sort of go pick his ass up. I don't want it to feel like his character's slipping. He's slipping in confidence in himself, not in the way that he wants to do things. Mm-hmm. And then shortly after that is where we have that Joker scene, which you wrote, and that's fucking ridiculously awesome.
So the Joker.
I want to have Alex read that scene just to get an idea.
Okay.
So is that in your notes?
I mean, I have that line, but I mean, I don't really have a scene.
But yeah, that's his line, and it's just like perfect Joker.
It's all right. So Joker, the hallucination, is telling Batman that it makes sense that his time's over, like that he should just give up, because they both started their careers around the same time. They were around the same age. Maybe his life was supposed to end when he ended Joker's, and the line I wrote is, maybe your time was supposed to end when you ended mine. Your last hurrah, Bruce. And the fact that you can't see that for yourself is the most validating punchline of my life.
Pretty damn good.
I like that.
And Vincent, you said you didn't like the "of my life." You suggested "I've ever heard." And I was thinking about that, and I think "of my life" is still relevant, because what you do and accomplish in your life and what's important to you, it still pertains to your life, even after you're dead.
That's a fair point. And listening to it the second time, it does make a bit more sense.
Okay. I had a few other thoughts and suggestions I came up with when we weren't together.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring those up.
I'm going to start working on some Step 3 stuff, doing some character arcs in my spare time, so...
Okay, and by all means, any of that shit that if you want to get into that now or talk about shit we haven't delved into with that stuff right now, we can.
But our focus today is we gotta start on this first 15 pages, coming up with any questions you might have, or at least a basic flow.
No, I know, we will. Okay, so Clock King is sent to destroy Batman's evidence, right? The whatever he acquired to figure out that it's Abaddon stuff. Mm-hmm. What I have written here is perhaps Ubu saw Batman, like when Batman acquired the stuff when they were like abroad. Shot of Ubu or somebody spying on Batman, seeing him do something, but Batman doesn't see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And this isn't really even a suggestion. I don't know why I'm really even saying anything. I was just,
but no, it makes sense to just have it established that somebody knows that.
Right.
That he's found something.
Right. And then I have right after that. Actually, that's what I was just referring to as this after it. I clearly just typed it when I really didn't have a point, but Batman didn't get all of the analysis that he wanted out of it. Like, he wanted to continue doing shit to it when the ambush happened. but he got enough to know that Ra's is behind it, so he says, "It's okay, we got what we needed." Totally not important anything. Disregard. I would love to have Ra's give some semi-logical speech, whether it's to Batman or somebody, explaining how he feels about, like, really defining the greed that he sees in people and how money is all that's important to most people on Earth, and that the entire economic system and everybody wanting more and more and more is what's destroying the planet, and how that's counterintuitive to the good of mankind. Just some moment where we can maybe not empathize, but see where he's coming from on a strictly logical level.
I've got it. Okay. This is a follow-up to his meeting with the Clock King. One of us came up with the idea of, his offer of payment to the Clock King for destroying Batman shit is Japan. A whole string of islands to himself. So yeah, the second he gets done with the meeting with Clock King leaves, he turns to Ubu and he says something to the tune of, "Remind me to unleash some Abaddon on Japan the second his plane lands."
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he's like, "Yeah, I'm totally gonna fucking kill you when you're done with this." Just because I guess the meeting didn't... and here's how he does this. The Clock King actually strikes up the bargain. He's like, "Well, what do I get out of this?" And he's like, "I'm prepared to offer you such and such thing, but that's not good enough. Clock King wants Japan." And he sees the Clock King's pretty greedy and shit.
Yeah.
What's it called? An Abaddon?
The Abaddon enzyme is a reverse engineered enzyme of the stuff that is in the Lazarus pit that keeps Ra's al Ghul from dying.
Right.
Lazarus slime. I'm really trying to get this started.
But
primordial ooze.
Yeah, ooze. Yeah.
And basically, it's dispersed as a vapor by some sort of aerial thing, and what happens is that it ages people into dust. Like, because the Lazarus pit, sort of like the fountain of youth, and it makes someone young again. This shit makes them age like a million years, like instantly. It's weaponized.
Okay.
And then, they're just sort of dust.
Got you.
And what was that thing you said to him?
Something about, is this the...
The thing kind of reminds me of like the primordial ooze kind of reminds me of the Ninja Turtles movies. Mm-hmm. And then they get in the ooze and they get super strong. And
they become the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, because they were regular turtles.
Don't tell Otto this reminds you of anything.
Yeah, we can't use that.
Scrap the whole movie.
Ninja Turtles did it.
Simpsons did it.
The Simpsons.
Simpsons did it.
Ghostbusters did it.
Scooby-Doo did.
Yeah, that's the line. Remind me to fly one of our planes over Japan the second his plane lands.
I was going to suggest keep an eye on him and let me know as soon as he lands in Japan. Like, maybe not directly say that he is going to bomb him, but imply it.
Maybe. That might work.
Or figure out a more clever way to imply it.
Y'all still doing the index cards?
Yeah, we're getting around to it. Do we take our time here at Project Batman? We have many agendas all the time.
I can see.
We make a lot of progress, and we have a good conversation while doing it.
We do make a lot of progress every episode, and every episode we have a very specific plan, and we have very specific plans for the future, but they all sort of, we get about 10% of each plan done per episode.
We're still going to be doing Project Batman like a year after the movie is finished, trying to catch up on the development shit that we gave them. Just like, come on, we got to get this. Guys, just give up. We already released it. I know, but we haven't characterized Ra's yet.
All right.
Project Batman 2001 episodes.
All right. This is my last note, and I really like this one. but it might not work because of some reason you can think of, and that's fine. But to me, it sounded cool. First of all, I have a question. Where in the world does one acquire kryptonite?
That's a good question.
I think it's pretty obvious.
I know it can be synthesized.
Kryptonite rocks.
It can be synthesized.
Also, I think when Superman landed, some of the shards of Krypton landed with him, or at least somewhere on Earth. I mean, they were along the same flight path. So I think there's some naturally occurring.
Wouldn't some sort of government had gotten their hands on it by that point? I mean,
Possibly. There was a dragon sculpture made out of a giant chunk of kryptonite.
I mean, there's an entire show of Superman. Somebody has to fucking whip some kryptonite at him at some point, and have gotten it from somewhere on the planet.
Batman managed to get some.
Yeah, in that episode you were talking about last week.
He actually gave it to Terry McGinnis in an episode of Batman Beyond because the Justice League hired Tomorrow Batman, and Bruce noticed was something off about Superman, and he's just like, and he gives the kryptonite to Terry, and he's just like, do whatever you have to do.
Okay, well, what if, in order to create this Abaddon stuff, the science behind it is fusing it with kryptonite, or whatever you get from kryptonite. That's how he, like, this shit from a whole nother planet combined with this primordial ooze of our planet combines the deadliest thing in the history of time, and that keeps Superman out of the picture. He can't go inspect any aspect of the world because it's just been clouded with kryptonite, which only affects him, right? Kryptonite doesn't affect normal people, does it?
No. I mean, it's radioactive, you'd still get cancer from it, but...
Okay, well, so you'd expect any place that got bombed to have that sort of thing.
I'm sorry, because I know you really like this idea.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
I just thought of why he can't use kryptonite.
Why?
He's trying to save the planet. Kryptonite's radioactive. Why the hell would he be spreading radioactive stuff all over the planet?
Maybe it's not radioactive once he does whatever to it. I mean, the Abaddon stuff changes what the Lazarus Pit stuff does. Maybe once they meet each other, they do a whole different thing. Isn't that how chemistry works?
Maybe, but not with radiation. That's an atomic thing. That's...
You're trying to apply this world science into this fictional universe. Alright, well, another line of thinking in that for me was it could be another motive for Raish in this story is in the beginning part of the movie he has a plan and he's figured out how to create this stuff, but in order to do that he needs more kryptonite, and that could be a bit of his storyline is having to do whatever. We come up with some storyline for him to create kryptonite or acquire kryptonite or more kryptonite than he already had, while Bruce and Talia are looking around at whatever he already destroyed with the kryptonite that he did have. It was just a thought trying to
fill in that big
trying
gap
to come
there.
up with more of just more things for him to do than sit in a room and point at a map. But I don't buy your argument that science doesn't work because this is all fictional anyway.
See, I don't know why, but I'm really iffy on it. Like, it's an interesting concept, but at the same time, I like the idea of him requiring some other resource. I don't know if I like kryptonite being the resource.
Okay, I was just trying to pick something from this world or from our universe that.
Okay, so but the concept was that you wanted something, the Lazarus combined with something.
Yeah, and that just seemed like an extreme thing to have him do something extreme to acquire more of.
Because I know that supply of kryptonite on Earth is incredibly limited.
Right.
And of course, we need to research more about kryptonite, but that seems...
I like that idea of having to have something, and like you said, it keems him out of just pointing on a map the whole time.
Yeah, it's like, But would there be like a subplot where he's actually traveling the world himself looking for this shit?
No, I just sort of imagined it.
But he directing people to do it?
He's got minions for that.
Yeah, and it would sort of just be at the beginning of the movie. Like, we wouldn't really know what his master plan was. We'd see him... Maybe we would follow him on someplace before we got to his chamber where he's pointing at a map and him fucking somebody over, getting a quantity of kryptonite. Even if it is just a small amount, maybe that's all he needs. You only need this much to produce this much Abaddon stuff. And I don't know. Like I said, it's not a fully formed thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely like the idea. I'm not sure if I like the kryptonite, but I like the concept.
Okay.
Definitely.
Kryptonite just seemed extreme enough to put in an extreme situation. What are you smiling about now?
I know what it is.
Okay.
The agent that he mixes with the Lazarus enzyme to create the Abaddon enzyme is the cure for the Black Plague that scientist guy had that he was trying to intercept.
Whoa.
That brings that little flashback further into the story.
Okay. What's the cure for the Black Plague? And where do we get more of it? I like your thought. I love making
making
that resonate through the whole story, but I want to...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That wasn't really... This is just a thought that just jumped into my head, so let me think. What actually is the cure for the Black Plague?
Kryptonite.
It gets rid of the Black Plague, but it gives you cancer. It's a trade-off.
Because I get that kryptonite's radioactive on its own, but...
It's something to do with the fact that radioactivity is caused by instability in atomic structure, not molecular structure. Like if you were to make uranium oxide, if you were to make like uranium rust, it would still be radioactive. And like, you know, you have like uranium ore, which is like uranium silicon or something like that. That's radioactive. You got to break the silicon off of it.
Look, I get what you're saying.
I've seen Breaking Bad. I know everything about chemistry.
I cannot help but just find it hilarious.
What's it, like a nuclear physicist?
But
you tell an audience anything and they'll buy it. Oh, you add this to this and it makes this? Alright, I'm following a Batman
Seems
movie.
legit.
But
I'm gonna go home and try it.
Let me just pull out my mom's kryptonite bag.
because I was actually envisioning, when I thought of the scene, I was thinking that Ray should make some comment about the cure for the Black Plague being vaguely similar to the Lazarus enzyme and chemical makeup. But if we want something that, or maybe it is similar, but when they combine, shit just goes awry.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he found it accidentally. He was experimenting one day to see, to find something out, and he decided,
What if he just kept
wait, I got it. Alright. This cure for the Black Plague, we give it a name, just like we gave Abaddon a name. Whatever it is, whatever he stopped the bodyguard from delivering way back then, he kept it.
Yeah, kept the
momentum. Yeah.
Just like he kept the staff. And this storyline that I want to create, so he's not just pointing out a map the whole movie, is him finding somebody to, here, create more of this. Do this. I don't know what to do with this. I need more of it. I'll fucking give you a country or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I won't kill you.
Okay.
Build on that.
Well, how does he know that the Black Plague thing mixed with the Abaddon stuff is going to make this?
Because he's had 600 years to try to figure out how to destroy everyone on the planet.
He picked up this Black Plague cure when he was like 50 years old.
So he's had it for a little while.
Yeah.
And it took him this long to figure out to combine the Lazarus stuff he's been using for hundreds of years with that stuff.
But and it's like, I figure it somewhat this way. The cure for the Black Plague is some sort of chemical that specifically goes out, finds the bubonic plague bacteria, I think it's called Yersinia pestis, hunts it down in a human body, tracks itself all throughout their bloodstream, finds it, kills it. The Lazarus enzyme targets all human cells and rejuvenates them. I mean, basically what happens is when you combine the two, you get something that targets all human cells and exterminates them.
Yeah. I'm glad you've convinced yourself of this fake science.
I want to come up with something that's plausible, at least.
No, I that is plausible.
Kryptonite's radioactive, okay?
I can't wait for us to do that episode on fake science.
This might be it. Okay, well those are things we can think about.
Okay. Because I wanted to...
Great things brought up so far. I'm liking it.
Because I was thinking of doing one of those... something similar to those character arcs.
See return to the note cards, I think.
It bothers me.
What's bothering you?
You gotta start on something. Alright, let me write this down. Well, wait. Okay, now we're going to that thing, so I'll set this down. Oh, now we're back to this. Okay. Wait. Is there another thing? Okay, let me set this down.
That's how our podcast works.
I know.
It's a series.
That's actually why we do it.
It's a series of
I'm like
never-ending.
OCD about it.
It's a series of never-ending tangents
If
that will eventually, hopefully, combine themselves into some web of a movie.
If we weren't recording our tangents, this would all just be incoherent conversation that we wouldn't even be able to follow.
It really would. But my last thought on the thing, and Chris interrupted it.
My bad. I'm really not sorry.
Asshole.
It was my bad, but I'm not sorry.
I accept all responsibility. Proudly. Yeah, I was thinking when I was writing the character treatises for Step 3, the Snowflake Method, I was thinking of writing one for Abaddon. Almost have it kind of like a character. Because I thought of something when I wrote the music for the trailer. I thought that sort of low tremolo strings with the timpani, just that could almost be a theme for the Abaddon enzyme, like a musical. Like it's so important that it actually gets its own theme.
Right? Yeah, I get that.
And so you can treat it almost like a character, and I'll write a thing about Abaddon, what it is, what it does, where it comes from, how it happens, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll do that.
Okay.
So, note cards.
Be better than...
Also, another trick I was reading about with the note cards, that was in that same chapter, that when it was all about plotting out your movie, is you not only can do like note cards for scenes and stuff, but you do a note card for like, okay, we're gonna do a note card for Raish. And then you just write down all the stuff that you want to make sure resonates through the whole movie, or you need to make a point to add in where we don't know what we're going to do. Like for Raish, we'd say define, convictions, other shit like that. So we can do an Abaddon card, we can do a Raish card, we can do all of that at another time. But right now, let's fucking focus on these scenes.
Yeah.
Okay. Opening. Cold open. So, are we in agreement now on this alternate cold open?
Hell yeah.
Would we be able to somehow segue the cold open into he's recalling it? Yeah, that's right. It's going on in his mind. It's sort of playing back through his head. And then it fades in. Yeah, there's a shot of him with a smile on his face when he kills the guy. And then it fades in on his face now, and he's looking at this map of the world with the same evil smile on his face.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or it just zooms into like his evil eyes, and we just like see this part of his face, and then when it zooms back out, he's in the current day setting.
Yeah.
that.
But combine the scenes and keep both ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
And combine them.
All right.
And that'll eke us out a little length out of that scene too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so within this cold open, we're gonna have Raish versus Roman bodyguard. That's what he is, right?
I was always envisioning him as a Shaolin monk.
Okay.
I don't know. Sean actually had. That is your next step before you do it. Before you get too heavily involved, design that character.
Okay.
If you come up with an idea that's better than a Shaolin monk or some sort of Roman guy, do it.
I'm just gonna write bodyguard.
I just kind of like the idea of him just being the everyday kind of guy.
Okay.
Why would he kill him?
Because he's made that cure or whatever.
Well, so why would he kill an average guy
He's-
and not?
I mean, he's smart, obviously. He made this cure. He's not some stupid guy.
Are we? Wait, do we want the bodyguard guy and the cure guy to actually be the same guy? The guy who Raish is fighting is the guy who's making the cure, who also happens to be good at defending himself.
I mean, that's kind of how I thought it was he's just kind of an everyday guy, but he's not some scrawny, like, little guy who's working on a cure, but he's not also this big fucking guy.
Yeah, I think Raish would try to kill the source. He wouldn't just continuously kill the messengers, like endlessly. Oh, he made more cures. He's sending them off.
That's what he was doing for a while, and then he decided, no, this isn't working. I'm going to go fucking kill the guy myself. He was sending his agents to intercept couriers.
Right. But the guy who created it, he decided to deliver it himself because it never reached its destination before. Right?
I was thinking that Raish actually found out where the stuff was coming from and went there. Thought Raish was doing the traveling, not the cure guy.
Alright. So, where do we envision this scene happening? Like, I envisioned it in like a forest. Like, someone was traveling.
I envisioned it in, like, the streets of a town.
I envisioned it in the place where he was making the damn cure.
So, 3 different places, right?
I envisioned it in the alleyway of a pizzeria.
What was the last pizzeria you went to that had an alleyway in it?
It was a really shitty
Richmond.
pizzeria.
Richmond. It was really bad.
That's a sketchy place.
It was really.
Hell yeah. Here's this building. There's an alley that goes through it.
It was bad.
It sounds like it. The pizza
It was
sounds
scary.
dirty.
It was scary.
You know, people come walking into the damn restaurant from the alleyway. Hey man, you want to buy some? I don't know what this is, but I'm sure it's good on pizza.
We were walking through this alleyway, about to go onto the street. Some guy came up to us. Hey man, you want $1? Hit the hookah. Hit the hookah. $1.
Oh, God, that guy.
No. $2. Hit the hookah. How would you go up? I said no for $1. I don't want to hit your hookah.
I don't think he understands how to haggle.
Okay, final offer, $3.
$3. Hit the hookah. You buy a camel? What? No, you just offered me to hit a hookah, not buy a camel.
I totally see your idea of using his place of making it.
Yeah,
That makes sense to me.
it does.
Is that what we're in agreement for then?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And that'll help you because we need to do this because you're storyboarding this scene.
Yeah.
okay, so
Design the guy, design the room.
So here's how I envision it. Cold open is simply we see a old-timey, not modern scientist, just basically a guy fucking grinding some shit up or just creating something in a room in his little... When us as an audience, we're like, who the fuck is this guy? Obviously by the setting and everything around him, it's a long time ago. And then it comes up on screen and says the year it was, and then I guess he just sort of shows up in a Batman-ish way to sort of show some symbolism between, or some relation.
So what time period is this also? The 1400s?
1450s.
1450s?
So then Raish sort of shows up, and he goes to like, we think it's just going to be a clean, easy kill. Raish goes to like just attack him or whatever. Well, Raish was a respectful man then, right?
Yeah, but at this point he is.
Yeah, he never would have just killed someone without them knowing, like stab him in the back, right?
Right.
Okay, so how would he approach this situation respectfully?
Knocks on the door.
Yeah, they both kind of sound like distinguished gentlemen.
I challenge you to a duel.
Okay, so the guy's just making his shit, and we hear a knock on the door, and he goes to answer the door, and what do we just Kill Bill Volume 1, a normal conversation for a minute, and then they break out into a fight, and then we have where he gets him in a lock, and then...
Do we do the whole fight scene? If we start right at the whole beginning, because I thought we were supposed to explain, I thought we were doing part of the scene, and then we were going to elaborate on the scene later. So maybe it enters at the end of the fight.
I don't like entering at the end of the fight.
Okay. So where would we put that then, in order to avoid telling the entire story and then just having it redundant later?
I see your point.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Let's do that thinking thing that we do sometimes.
Not much.
Except not Chris.
I ain't got no brains to do brain story thinking with.
Shrek is an orc.
He is.
God damn it, what have I done?
Just like Batman, Bruce Wayne are one and the same.
We don't have to have them really say much. The dude can answer the door. May I help you? Raish says, are you... insert name here. He says, yes. Why are you here? Raish says something along the lines of, you know why I'm here. And somehow they get into attack mode, battle mode. And then,
Oh, yeah, no. He says, I've got it. Envision this.
okay.
The guy's sitting there grinding something with mortar and pestle.
Sure.
He's an alchemist.
Your
Okay.
vocabulary is so much better than mine.
You know, he studied... Because alchemy was very popular in that time period. And here's a knock on the door. And so he goes up and he opens the door. And Ra's al Ghul's standing there. Excuse me, are you such and such name? And he's like, yes, I am. And he's like, who are you? My name is Ra's al Ghul. Why are you here? You know why I'm here. His staff's sitting by the door, leaning up against the frame. You're right. I think I do. As it reaches for the staff. Raish pulls a sword, and the fight begins before Raish even enters the room.
Okay.
They're at the door frame.
Cool. Alright, so then we're an audience. We're suddenly, within the first minute of the movie, in a battle. We don't know why, because the conversation that preceded it was vague. And within 30 seconds, Alchemy Man gets Raish in that lock, shows him mercy. Raish kills him, and evil smile. Zoom into his eyes, pull back on his eyes. Opening scene we were talking about, Batman Immortal.
Okay, and then when we go to explain it later, it fills in on that scene, and that's just... There's a little snippet of that fight at the end of it. We don't do that whole scene again. Okay, yeah, I like where we're going with this. Okay. So that's our scene.
Okay.
Or you could just do it in the very beginning. He goes to reach for the staff. You know why I'm here. Cuts to another scene in the beginning. And that way, later on,
Maybe it doesn't even show the fight. He's like,
Yeah, you just said the way he says, you know why I'm here, he could still just have that evil look on his face.
And then, yeah.
and then he says, and then he says, yes, I think I do. And he reaches for the staff, and then you see Raish, and he intercepts with the staff, and then you see Raish's face, and that's the smile.
Okay.
You guys like that?
I like it, but I also...
Do you want to do the fight?
I like starting the movie off with that kill. With fucking seeing our bad guy kill somebody. Like, being... It sucks to be in the middle of a scene right at the beginning of the movie, and then be taken out of it with no... I don't know. There's such a mystery to it still, even if we see the fight scene, because we don't know what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't know, it'll just be a, holy shit, what did we just see? And then fucking cut to, oh, he's still way more evil, and he's plotting something, and we don't even know what that is yet. But we just saw him kill somebody, and, oh, look, the movie's beginning. I don't know, what do you think? Fight or no fight?
He's got me convinced on the fight, I think.
Yeah.
You sound doubtful. What do you think?
Because at the end of the movie, we already have an epic fight.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is you really don't need to, and maybe just take away from the first fight.
You just, show a couple of snippets of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
You see the end of that fight where he gives him mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you really only get a couple of seconds back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah.
I'm for that.
Okay, cool. Starting Alchemist house, answers, door, it's Raish, they fight, Raish kills.
Are you actually going to write the fight scene as well?
Yeah, I mean, I figured I was going to write the first 15 pages.
Okay. In the fight scene, the one thing I thought of was that since now we know that they're in some sort of alchemical lab, somebody picks up a glass beaker off the fucking table and hits the other guy with it, with some sort of thing in it.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you as to who's the one who swings the glass beaker. But
Okay. Cool. Pull in on Crazy Eyes. Pull out on present day.
yeah, it says 2009.
Oh yeah. Pull out on 2009. And then once we pull out on 2009, we have a scene where basically it's established that Raish has a plan that's happening soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, the scene, I think basically, he says something that Paris is going to be attacked in 8 days' time, and then he says, he has some sort of Ra's al Ghul-esque, not really a one-liner, but some sort of line right before the thing.
And that scene is in like Raish's fortress, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes place, and I'm envisioning a darkened sandstone room with a big map on the wall.
Okay.
It's a dartboard. He just throws darts wherever they hit.
The war room.
We can't fight in here. This is the war room.
That's hilarious. Alright. Race Fortress plotting first attack. Cut to title card.
And then we'll actually have the opening credit sequence there.
Right, yeah. Or I'll cut to opening. That's...
We'll have to make those once we finally figure out who the fuck is in this movie. So
I think Edwards Media sounds fine to me.
Is that cool with you?
Yeah, why not? My podcast network can just be the Edwards Media Network. Is that dumb?
No.
Sounds good to me.
I can't think of anything else. Okay.
Or Ken's Casts.
Ken Casts.
I was just like, oh, we're gonna try one last idea.
Alright. So, bam. Now we're going to do Gordon and Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Set in
Gotham City, 2009.
Diner?
It's actually the same. It would actually be the same.
But Gordon's talking to Batman, not Bruce.
Exactly.
So it can't be in a diner.
They've done it before.
In a diner?
Some little cafe, yeah.
Batman was just eating lunch with him?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was the episode Holiday Nights. I'll pull it up because I just downloaded the whole series after this, and we'll watch that little scene.
Okay. I was going to say, or I was going to suggest that Batman had just solved some other crime, and he was there at the scene, and Gordon was there cleaning up after him. Like, you know, like we see in the background them taking in the prisoners, and them just having a little post-event chat about, oh, we've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. Barbara said maybe she'll do it. I don't know what she'd do without you. You're always, or how they'll do it without you. You always defuse the situation before we even get there. And then he gets a call on his radio saying there's a bank robbery. And while he's paying attention to that, then he gets off the radio and he's like, well, I guess that's your cue to go get him, Bruce.
Yeah, there you go.
For those of you listening, when I paused, that was him turning around and Bruce not being there. So, is that good?
Oh yeah,
I
that's
like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
But yeah, they are actually sitting there talking in a diner because it is established that they do that. Usually they do it once a year, but maybe have something about, you know, I know it's not our usual New Year's thing, but wanted to talk to you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty much established they do it on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
So just, you know, make mention of that.
Okay. But they talk regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't a question, but are you saying this scene, we do set it at a diner?
Yes.
So not after a police.
What if you just combine the two ideas? Gordon could be out somewhere, and then across the street there's, I don't know, like a little stand or something. He goes to get some food.
I'm missing your thing. The way I always thought of it was that they're sitting there talking in a diner, and then he gets a call on the radio, and then Batman leaves the diner, like he vanishes out of the diner, and it takes Gordon a little while to get there because he's got to drive there instead of doing Batman shit. And then by the time he gets there, that's right when Gordon's getting there. That's when Batman leaves, and he says, "I'm sorry."
Okay, if Batman and Gordon have enough free time at this particular moment in their day to be talking about whatever at a diner, and we're at a point in history where Gordon knows that Batman is Bruce, why wouldn't they just go out to lunch together as Gordon and Bruce Wayne?
Because it's nighttime. I thought this scene was taking place at night. It had to be.
But see, I like what he kind of brings up though. It's like if it's at night, why the hell does Gordon have free time to go to a diner? Why wouldn't he just walk to the nearest like food stand?
Why would he have free time to go out to the diner every time the other time he talks to Batman?
Do they do it every time? Or
Yeah,
just on
it's
Christmas Eve?
I think we should pause this and we'll watch that scene real quick.
Okay.
Because that...
Okay, I'm just going to let it go.
Okay.
Very surprised if he didn't show this time. And break our tradition? In fact, unless I miss my guess, that's him now. How's that on?
Better than the Joker's.
Close one this time.
They're all close ones.
Well, here's to survival. Hopefully we'll be doing this again next New Year's Eve.
Hopefully.
And now, Joe, if I could get one of your famous cheesesteaks to go, I'll be ready to call it a night. Anything for you. One of these years, I'm going to beat him to the check.
So Batman showed up for like 2 seconds?
But yeah, apparently it's this New Year's tradition that they show up at Joe's Tavern. It's got to be Joe's Tavern. There's the setting, Joe's Tavern. Joe's a little older now. So's Gordon. So's Batman. Everyone's older.
Okay, well then, I was weirded out by I didn't know it was closed. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
I just thought we were...
Maybe going into a place
Oh, yeah,
with
so-
people
Yeah, I
starting.
was like envisioning just Batman and Gordon just walking in, just...
How y'all doing, huh?
Yeah, table for two? Okay, yeah.
Be 15 minutes.
Everyone else is like, there's fucking Batman.
Be a 15-minute wait. Batman goes to play the arcade while he's waiting on his table.
All the drunks are like, is that Batman? I'm not sure. I'm too hammered for this, man.
Did I do something wrong?
Yeah, I suppose that's something I forgot about too. I thought it was just late at night and there was nobody in there, but now we understand. It's a good thing we did this and now we know what's going on.
Yeah.
So does that scene make more sense now to you guys?
It does. It does. Okay, well, they can just have gotten... Like, they could be referencing something that happened earlier that night about, like, much in the same vein that was. Like, I didn't need to know what they were talking about. Fucking something happened to Batman's arm, you know? Mm-hmm. So they can be referencing that thing when Gordon says, oh, you always defuse it before we can ever get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make sure, because it's established that they usually do that as a New Year's tradition, but make sure he says something about...
And since it's the beginning, it's the first scene with Batman in the movie... That this way we don't have to say it's 2009 when we cut away from Raish. We can just say Happy New Year's. It's 2009.
I don't know if I want the movie to be a winter movie though, because that would pretty much set it in the dead of winter.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe he asked him here for something else.
Maybe Gotham City's in the tropics. Who knows?
That's what he's there for. Well, I asked you here to tell you I'm thinking about retiring soon.
Okay, yeah. All right. Gordon.
And that way we can just have the movie in an indiscriminate month in 2009.
Yeah. Gordon asked him there to talk retirement. Line about Batman being quicker than cops.
I wonder if the cops would get lazy and just be like, okay, yeah, you know, the shot's fired. We'll be there eventually. Batman will be just there.
Maybe that's the problem in Gotham City. Batman had a little fucking help.
Mention of Barbara. Radio call about bank. Batman ninjas off.
Ninjas.
That's actually a conversation Matt and I had after the last podcast. Was we were talking about, or no, you were there before when he was still going into that, about how Batman's a samurai as opposed to a ninja. You made that realization.
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, okay. It was in the episode where he fights the guy one of the guys who trained with him, with his sensei, it was sort of established that Kyodai Ken, the other guy, was a ninja, because ninjas are all about, stealth and deception and stuff. But Batman adheres more to the ways of the samurai with honor and stuff.
All right, so I feel like we have not had a lot of fat in tonight's episode, like a lot of stuff that will be cut out, and we're at almost an hour and 40 minutes right now. So I know we usually do this once a week, but I'd like to continue this. Do you guys just want to do this like tomorrow or the next day and continue with this?
Yeah, I do. I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. That's gonna put us 5 weeks ahead on release schedule.
It's okay, and I'm sure as we get more intensive in the process, we'll meet more often anyway, and we'll just release these normally, and people will be none the wiser. All right.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, we got a lot of good shit.
Quick, the bat shark repellent.